Shema Israel. Hope you enjoy this next study. My name's Dee. This is my wife, Millie.
So if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you wish to reach out to us, you can email us at devotedtoyah@gmail.com.
It's 18. Known to God from eternity are all his works. Therefore, I judge that we should not trouble those from among the Gentiles. Therefore, I judge that we should not trouble those from among the Gentiles who are turning to God. With emphasis on the word turning to God. The word turning to God implies a process, in process, okay? It does not say troubling those among the Gentiles who have turned to God as if they've arrived at their final destination. No, they are turning to God. They are heading in the right direction. And that's a process. But that we write to them to abstain from things polluted by idols, from sexual immorality, from things strangled, and from blood. I want to highlight this as well. These are the things, right? And Christians say, you see, brother, this is all we got to do. We don't got to follow that old law, that old yoke, that old heavy burden law. We don't got to follow that thing. But I already broke down to you how that's not what it's not talking about, not trying to obey it. It's talking about using the law as a prerequisite, as a measuring rod to determine whether you're righteous or not by faith. Your first steps into the family of God. Making the law a checklist that needs to be checked off before you can be accepted into the family of God. That is what the context here is about. It is not saying that it is wrong to pursue the commands of God. It is just as foolish. Listen to me clearly. Listen to me clearly what I'm about to say. It is just as foolish to say that keeping the law of God is self-righteousness. It is just as foolish as saying keeping the commands of Jesus Christ is self-righteous. Tell a Christian that. Tell a Christian when they say, are you keeping the law? Are you keeping the law? And you say, yes, I am. No, you're a liar. No man can keep the law. No man. And they say, all right, Christian, let me ask you a question. Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. Are you keeping the commandments of Jesus Christ? Yeah, yes, I am. Oh, well, then you're a hypocrite. You're just as self-righteous as I am then. You see what I'm basically trying to show you is that just because you obey commands and you pursue to try to obey those commands, your pursuit now is to try to obey. That doesn't make you self-righteous. That makes you obedient. That makes you faithful, somebody who's chasing. If you love the Messiah, you will keep his commandments. So I am trying my best to keep his commandments. That's it. So when somebody says, are you keeping God's commandments? To the best of my ability. That's what I say. To the best of my ability. And it's the same answer for keeping the law. It's no different. Verse 21. This is the part that Christians forget. They don't like reading this part. And when they do read it, they like to misinterpret it. So they give a list, right, about 4 things here. Abstain from things polluted by idols. 1, sexual immorality. 2, things strangled. I don't hear Christians talking about this. I don't know how many sermons you'll hear in Christianity on this topic. Animals that are abused, strangled, thrown around. Not to eat those foods. How many people preach about that on Sunday services? Not many, because they like to go to the buffet after church. They like to eat their fried chicken that's probably been beaten and thrown against the walls. And from blood. Okay? I get it. Not a lot of people are doing this nowadays. Some people are, but still, these were things that these Gentiles back in these days were dealing with. And they were giving them these first 4 steps as a starting point. Okay? The official starting point, let me just be a little more clear. I don't want people taking my words out of context. The starting point is believing, right? The Pharisees, there's a sect of the Pharisees that believed. Believed what? The Gentiles should hear the word of the gospel and believe. This is the first part. This is how you are declared righteous by faith. This is how you're accepted by God. You hear the gospel that you're a sinner, you're wicked, you're deserving of God's wrath and judgment. But God became a man. Yahuwah became flesh. Yahusha died. Yahuwah, our Savior, died on the cross for your sins. He paid your fines. He took your punishment. He died and he rose again, defeating the power of death and the grave. That whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. If you believe this message with all your heart, if you're broken, if you start crying, if you're grieving over how much you've hurt God by your wickedness, and you probably hurt other people, and you accept this gift and you confess him as your Lord and Savior, you confess Yahusha as your master, your Lord, and your Savior, you plead your allegiance to God, the God of the universe, you're declared righteous and accepted by God. After that, there's 4 things to start off with. This is not the end-all be-all. If this was the end-all be-all, then they can partake in, I don't know, bestiality, incest, drunkenness, gossip, slander, witchcraft, sorcery. Okay? This is not the end-all be-all list. This is a starting point. If you can't see that with common sense, then I can't help you. You might want to stop the video and just quit. But after you give them a starting point in verse 21, very importantly, they say, for Moses has had throughout many generations those who preach him in every city, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath. Christians interpret this as saying, we want to give them these 4 things only and let them know everything. They don't have to keep anything else. You know, we want to make sure we protect them from these false teachers that are in the synagogues preaching the law of Moses. That's how some Christians interpret verse 21. And that is an absolute abuse of the passage. Absolute abuse. That is error. That is not rightly dividing the word. That is not proper context, man. For Moses has had throughout many generations those who preach him in every city, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath. I did a video entitled The Fear of God. And I want you to watch that video. Because part of fearing God, which is all over the New Testament, we are commanded to love God and to fear God, to love him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. One of the prerequisites on fearing God is to hear and obey the law of Moses. So rightfully, here is an Israelite apostle saying, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give them these 4 things because they have the rest of their life to learn the law of Moses every Sabbath. Because by tradition, that is what is read on the Sabbath. And matter of fact, the Messiah in Matthew chapter 23, verses 1-3 says the same exact thing. He tells his disciples to obey the law of Moses. Obey the law of Moses, which is being spoken by the teachers of the law who sit on the seat of Moses. I'm going to go to that with you. Let's keep going. Matter of fact, we can go to Matthew. We can start going to Matthew at this point because you're going to see how you can't interpret this stuff any other way. So let's go to Matthew. All right, first things first, Matthew chapter 5, verse 17-20. This is what the Savior of the world, the kinsman redeemer, the bridegroom of the assembly of Israel, King of the Jews, King of the Yahudim. This is what the Messiah said with his own words. Matthew 5:17-20. Do not think that I came to destroy the law. Don't even think that he came to do this, man. Not only are many Christians in violation of teaching against this, they're in violation of even having the thought. Even having the thought is sin. To even think that the Messiah came to do away with the law. Okay? We can go into the definitions of destroy. It's not even really that necessary. But you can go ahead and do that. I did not come to destroy. He says it again. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. This is letting you know that there is a distinction, a great distinction between the word destroy and fulfill. They cannot mean the same thing. It's absolute. It's ludicrous that people would think, oh, destroy is to put an end to something, right? And fulfill is to bring something to an end. Just because you switch the words around doesn't make it any more slick. You're saying the same thing. And this is what Christians do. They say, oh, no, he didn't come to do damage to it or make it end. He just came to bring it to its full point, to bring it to a close. You just said the same thing, bro. Stop doing that. Destroy and fulfill cannot mean the same thing. I'm going to encourage you to understand this passage because of everything else that's going to be read. This can only be understood as meaning he came to actually do the law, to actually obey it, and not sin at any point. That is the only interpretation there can be to this. A second possible interpretation is that he came to do the messianic prophecies about his suffering, the suffering servant, Emmanuel, God with us, a child is born, right? And the government will be on his shoulders, things like that. All those passages that talk about he's going to be given like a lamb to the slaughter. There's a lot of passages that he fulfilled, right? When they pierced him on his side. All these things. That's a possible also interpretation. But I think the best interpretation of this is being that he is actually going to do the law perfectly like no human on the earth has ever done. He will never sin at any point. And he absolutely did do that.